Greetings, everyone. I'm going to give a little instruction about the prefix conjugation, the imperfect, or almost the future, and in particular, how we make imperatives. This is discussed in Hackett chapter 12, and you'll see in a moment why imperatives are taught at the same time that we learn the prefix conjugation. So to begin with, let's get our prefix conjugation chart up here, and you can see that we have the singular and plural, we have first, second, and third person, and we're going to focus on the second person, but just for some review, we have the first person singular, ek tol, I will kill, plural, nik tol, we will. And we have the third person. So let's start with the he form, yik tol, he will kill, and they is yik tolu. The feminine forms, tik tol, she will kill, tik tolna, they will kill. Now let's come to the second person, because as will have occurred to you, an imperative is a command spoken to someone, that is, to some you. And so the imperative will only involve the second person of the various verbal forms that we know. So let's grab these second person forms and bring them to a separate page. And just think about how we pronounce and translate these, and then how we will manipulate them to make an imperative. So we have first, tik tol, you will kill. Tik tali, you will kill, a feminine you. Tik tolu, y'all will kill, to a mixed group or a masculine group. And tik tolna, y'all will kill. How will we make these into an imperative? Well, if you look at all of those preformative tavs on the front, this is a prefix conjugation because it is characterized by preformatives. All we have to do to make the imperative is to erase those first preformatives. And now, instead of you will kill in the various singular and plural forms, we have the command kill, which is to say that katol is a command spoken to one person. Katol, you would say to a masculine you. And katolna would be spoken to a feminine plural, y'all, kill. So all we did to make the command was we stripped off the preformative. Easy as it could possibly be, right? You might hear some hesitation in my voice, and that is because there's one more thing we have to discuss, and that is when we stripped off the preformative, we ended up with a combination of pointing that's not allowed. This is called the rule of schwa. This was already introduced. And that is, you can't start a letter. What was tik to li is now just k to li. And you can't start a word with two silent schwas. And what happens when you would have two silent schwas, the first one becomes a chirek, an I. So in fact, our tik to li is going to become kitli. You can see that chirek, that schwa, when we got rid of the tav, just changed to a chirek. So let's circle those. Instead of just kitli, it becomes kitli. There's a command. Instead of ktlu, it just becomes kitlu. But in time of trouble, if you forget that rule, remember, you rarely have to compose in Hebrew. You mostly have to recognize properly written Hebrew. You could look at these verbal forms and say, gosh, that looks a lot like the prefix. All the pointing looks a lot like the prefix. It just doesn't have the preformative. And you would be correct. Let's give just one example from Hackett chapter 12's homework, where we get one of these imperatives. So this is number 5. and we have katov et sifrecha. Katov. And that katov is easier perhaps to sort of recognize what it is if we add back the performative and we make it tiktov. Now we say, aha, tiktov, well, I memorized that form. That's just like tiktol or tizkor or any of the other forms we practiced. That means you will write. Katav means to write, tiktov means you will write. You will write et, and then the sefer, sifrecha is from sefer, book, ka, of you. You will write your book. And again, to practice, if we take away the performative, then we also take away the translation, and we're left just with katov, which is the command. Write your book, which is a voice I hear in my head right now from one of my editors. And so I'm going to conclude this video with that.